What's up? How do you like my ride? Yeah, just got it. A quarter mile. Well, depends on how many guys I got pushing it, you know. Anyway, hello again, guys. Thank you so much for coming back and joining me as we continue the 71 Nova project. Basically, what you see here is all that remains of a once very cool car. And we have got to completely disassemble this thing and get down to the bare shell. Absolutely everything else for this car is dismantled and taken apart. With a few exceptions, you know, like the transmission. You know, if I've talked about keeping it together, it's still together. Otherwise, everything is apart. So, I'm going to see today how far we can reduce this down to a former shell of itself, to a shell of its former self. And whatever. Let's go. Got my little pivoty doodabber on this side released. So let's see if we can get this guy off. Should probably check it sooner rather than later, make sure it works. All kinds of washer lines hooked up to it. And they had an auxiliary washer pump, so evidently she ain't working as far as that goes. Should I get out the hazmat suit or just not worry about it and potentially have to wear an iron lung? Or it wears me. Iron lung. Sounds more restful, you know, kind of a vacation. Get off of there. GT Grant horn button. Where are you? I've got my two front seat bolts out. Of course, they were the easy ones to get to. There you are, you little dickens. Our seat adjuster knob, that linkage is all seized up. There's no reaction there, so I cannot scoot it forward to get to the rear bolt. And then this original rubber mat is overlapping all that hardware and bracketry. So you just got to start going to pulling and ripping and getting that out of there. Now we're going back to carpet anyway, and this stuff is shot, plain and simple. Kind of a mixture of... Why are you getting difficult? It's a real shame, this headliner. It's kind of one of the nicer ones that I've seen, original ones, that is. But there's a lot of... We got some mold or rust issues and some rips in it or holes in it, just here and there. And I know once I go to pull it out of here, it's just going to be even worse. So we do have some things that are survivors, though. They'll have to be cleaned really good, but like the entire back seat and the panels, side panels back there. Sail panels look like they can be refurbished. A lot of the white trim. Dash pad looks really good. You know, can probably even clean up the sun visors Well, maybe the stitches are popped on the driver's one. I don't know. We'll just do what we have to do, won't we? How tall is your green juniper by now? I bought it for $5. I don't know. I don't think a lot I was just touching can be derived from the periodic table, you know, which is of concern. But I think the thing should come out now. In theory. Although it's acting like something's... Imagine it's the seat belts, but... What are we doing? Yeah, it's gotta be the seat belts. I'm gonna have to cut you off after all, aren't I? It's also very, very damp underneath the seat, which is of a concern as well, but we'll get it taken care of. Well, I was not able to get the seat belts down through the seat. For any of you who have tried, you know that struggle is real, especially with these big old, you know, old school GM ones. Very cool seat belt. But I was able to get, playing around with this nasty moldy thing, I was able to get the bolts out underneath. So we'll just, you know, we can pull those out now anytime. I don't know if he wants to, I assume he wants to just continue with the vintage original style. They're in great shape. And I've actually been looking for a similar set for my Corvair, and woo, people are proud of those things. I suppose you're paying somewhat for the certification, you know, that they're gonna stop your body in an accident. I don't know. But at the same time, you can buy $13 seatbelts, so not sure. Anyone in there? Ever sharp lead. Ooh, still full. Just pulled this out. It was clipped under the seat spring there, and I'm obviously going to return it there eventually anyway. Dated 6/19/71. Interestingly, our rear axle, I believe, was also from June. But how much it matters to you or anyone else, I don't know. But our trim code and our style number, all the numbers match what is on the data plate on the firewall. So pretty cool. Like I say, I will put that somewhere for safekeeping. Ooh, Trident. You know, that just looks pretty nice yet. It really does. Get out of there. Stubborn cuss. There we go. might find enough change to pay for this restoration here. It's kind of funny, from underneath in the last video, I really didn't discern all the rust problems that I'm uncovering from the top. Must have had those rose-colored glasses on again or something. Anyway, as I was cleaning, I was like, this is kind of reminiscent of my 65 Corvair as we went through that floor pan. But unfortunately, this one, we just redid front floor pans on the Corvair. The rears, they were a little questionable, a little pitted, but we dealt with what was there, and they're nice and solid yet. This one, I think we can get away with. We'll know more when it gets stripped down. Obviously, this one is still damp, actually. Looks pretty nasty, as you can see, but there is a hole through it right there. You know, I think, well, nope. There she goes. I don't think this rock is entirely stable. It is only now that I am seeing bad things. Very, very bad things. Not end of the world things, but not expected things. You know, those kind of things. See if I can get this bottom loose and I'll pop this out of here. Alright, this corner was tough, but I got it. But our little, let me try and get that, our little roll pan back here on the package tray is cut. Okay, you old thing. You gonna come out or not? Yes, sir, it is finito. Something like that. I mean, their glue did a great job. It's still sticking. Okay. Now, a putty knife along the top there. Yeah. And voila. Oh, cool. Got original stamps. Oh. Well, unfortunately, no matter what I do, this piece of glass is brittle, you know, and it's original. I can see around the old seal that has been painted red, over red, so I'm guessing this is original to the car. And certainly by the stamp, it looks original. Now, you know, it's just splitting. There's really nothing I can do. We developed a crack going up here when I just did that. There's some. However, it's got problems to begin with. You see our radio wire is broken out. There's a big old chunk of glass missing here. Either someone tried to do this earlier, probably, and just didn't work out. I don't know. There's also chips there. We've got scratches from the windshield wipers. There's separation all the way around, the bubbling, you know, of the layers there. So it's not the greatest piece of glass, but my consolation is that annoying fact when you take a good windshield into a body shop, a modern body shop, and you say, can you just replace the seal? And then they always call back and say, we broke it, and we're going to charge you another $500 to replace it, kind of thing. At least I'm no better or worse than they are. Okay, actually, I don't find any comfort in that fact. But anyway, regardless, not the greatest piece of glass, and unfortunately, I could not salvage it. All the other pieces of glass, actually, I think are very nice otherwise. Just noticed I was wrong. We have one plastic clip in here, which I can't imagine they did at the factory. So this thing has been out, I would assume. Poor old thing. Now I think I'm going to set my sights on the headliner, and then we'll work our way down to the dash, get that incredible amount of stuff taken care of. And then other than a lot of little piddly things, wiring and so on and so forth, we'll have her just about whacked in the head. Well, I'm about halfway through pulling my headliner windlace glue sticky thingies out, and just want to pause and document. Now, of course, I'm labeling each one as we go here, but I keep a notebook of things I think that 6 months down the road, I mean, it's all perfectly clear right now, right? But 6 months down the road, that's another story. Things like this, the sail panel insulation. I need to do the over the window glue strip first, install it, then the insulation, then the top sail panel strip, and then we can do the headliner, and then we do the sail panel, and then we do the windlace and the trim. You know, we can get that backwards pretty darn easily 6 months down the road, a year down the road, whatever it is. So, you know, it takes 10 seconds to write down the order that you need to go, and even shorter to label things. So you might as well just do it, guy. Also, our insulation on the roof is fantastic, except for right there, which is kind of a dirty shame. I may have been tempted to leave it. Still kind of am. A guy could cut that out nice and square and put some of those adhesive acoustic panels in there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to decide that. A lot of this, what looks like rust, is old contact cement. A lot of it's gonna clean up really nice. So if I think, man, I can get away with just cleaning this up and leaving it, maybe there's some areas we need to spot spray, like where the sun visor is. I think that's a little tiny rusty patch there through this old primer. We can do that and just not have to spend a lot of money or time in here. So I also think that maybe a guy will use those sound deadening mats there, instead of trying to glue something like this back in. That's just a wet, tarry, sticky mess. Greasy, you know. Anyway, we'll keep on going. Now, I know I'm jumping around a bit, but that's the spice of life, right? I want to bring some closure here to our tail lights. I've been monkeying around and putting it off. I've got these crazy bolts that just spin, want to spin in the housings there. And you got no head on them, you know, it's just flat. And one just absolutely refuses to let go of the nut. Well, that was strangely easy. This is great. I just popped the radio out. 1995 Toshiba. Remember the Toshiba brand? I certainly do. Although in my square body there, I had a Sanyo, I believe. I'm sure it was from Walmart. I don't remember what I had in my 64 Impala anymore. It was hard enough cutting I did the same thing in there, and it was hard enough doing that. I really don't remember that I hacked the dash in the 64. I must have hung it under the dash or something. I don't remember. Toshiba. Country song title: Broken Plastic, Broken Dreams. No, I don't know. I also just noticed that the steering, I don't know if you can tell, steering column is blue. I hadn't noticed that before. So she's been switched on in the past. No! Whiskey not very smooth, like snake bite cure from the medicine man. Hello. Now what do we got here, Mr. Dashboard? Pull that cable on through here. Can I see anything? Can we see anything? No, we still can't see anything. And I unhook you. There's that one. Wires. The washer. No, I disconnected that. What is this? What are you grabbing here? What's all that? Ground wire? I don't know. Where do you go? You got stuff that's all bent up. Yeah. The ground wire, I think, is giving us a problem. Let's try you out here. Try you out for size. Now what you got? Could be our shift indicator, I guess. I just can't, you know, the arms have no place to go. Yeah, there we go. What is that? What is that? Quarter. Yeah. Okay. Is that loose? Doing something now? No. There's the harness. And I can't tell what in the world's going on. Well, there's got to be a tab or something here. Okay. There you go. That was one. What's this? Separate ground wire? I don't know. Feeling along the back. I got nothing. There. What? What is it? Tell me. Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is right now. I don't see anything. What are you grabbing? Well, I've disconnected the shift indicator, but why is it still stuck? Ouch! Hokey smokes! Are we done now? Are you done? No, you're not done. What now? Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna get the right size eventually. Then you and I are gonna have words. Feels like I'm bleeding. That's okay. It's worth it. The old Chevy's worth it. One more clip, I hope. The in-the-face vent has a cable. Because it's too difficult to control it just with your hand, you know. I'll save that clip on there. Okay. Now, we got hardware and sockets and anything you can imagine on there. Now, what are you telling me? You know, it looks pretty good. I don't know. Ignition, neutral safety, and turn signal switch are all disconnected. So, I'm thinking if I put my noggin right under this heavy metal apparatus, I can disconnect it, and that would be a good thing. we'll just ignore why that felt like it broke and keep pulling. Way up there. Wow, I'm gonna need like a 4-foot extension. Okay. There we go. Where's the shifter? What did I do with it? Wow. That's a cluster of speaker right over there, buddy. I've about got the lion's share of the wiring out, and I was trying to pull the rear lighting and fuel out. It just didn't want to come, and I reached down in here and I think I recognized what's preventing this thing from coming out. Yeah. A strata flight. Found your ball. You want to continue the game. And ends, pigtails and so forth, but that is the majority of it right there. I think our lip medic's melted. Ooh, quarter. So what's exciting to think about is putting this all back together when everything is clean and new. And maybe there'll even be, you know, carpet or whatnot on the floor, clean floor. What's wrong with you, screw? Come on. I mean, I find that exciting. Okay. Now, you really should come out at this point. Okay, your friend came out. Where's your friend's other screw here? I don't know what I did with it. And now you. Are there clips? No, just stubborn. Breaking you really wasn't in my plans today. Feels so strange. I don't know what I'm dealing with there. I'm gonna have to put my phone camera up in there. Ugh. So apparently I have to take out the dash pad to take out the vent assembly. That's very convenient. Okay, well, this is being stubborn and I don't want to break it or tear. Actually, the corner's been broken already. I didn't even notice that. To break that any further or tear the foam and the vinyl, because I really want to save on this beautiful little thing here. So I am gonna start taking all the speed nuts off the back side here and see if we can get all this out together, sorta, kinda, maybe. I was just testing the waters with the dash, you know, just tugging on it just a tiny little bit, and the stinking vent just popped right out on its own. I don't know. But I bet this thing comes out, yeah. Yes, yes. Oh, what do we say here? Again, June 3, 1971. Made in Canada, as Derek would say. That is in incredible shape. You got to admit that. That's impressive. And there's my... Oh, it's even loose. The screw, we get that out. The old flappy doodle, which still works, you know, which is awesome. And I think really all I have left is the speaker. And everything else under here. I mean, we got some cables, parking brake, speedometer, accelerator pedal. Get the insulation out, and we're about stripped down in here. Well, on both of our wiper transmissions here, they've got these kind of beveled headed, or at least the washer, the lock washer, I would imagine the bolt is too, beveled on the bottom. And for whatever reason, the left side on both transmissions, I could get a socket on and get it out, but the right sides, they're just sunk down so much farther, and I cannot get any socket, any 5/16 bit down in there. Obviously not a wrench either. You can't get any vice grips or anything like that down in there. It's basically flush with the sheet metal, and you just don't have enough room to get a socket all the way down. It's very inconvenient, so I'm going to start once again trying to cut a slot head. May have to drill them out, not sure. Problem is, I'm going to get into the sheet metal and then we have to fix that. Oh, yeah, it's not looking too hopeful. Nope, it's already stripped. Boom. Okay, so in getting the rear quarter windows out, now your fuzzies were kind of typical, you know, and how they're snapped in there in the holes. I just reached in through the quarter wall and push up and out on these tabs, and then they come right out. Your channels, I left the screws in. I will pull those out here when I'm done showing you. But there's screws all through there, and then there should be 2 or 3 in the front piece. But on this left side, they were omitted. I would presume when this thing was repainted, they just never put them back in. And those B-pillar ones are tiny, tiny ones. And then behind that butyl rubber glob is a little body bolt for the bottom, rear bottom of the channel. Now what I wanted to show you is removing the stainless. Now that we've got that out of there, and I need to remember I need to go back in with like some padding, or I wonder if even some silicone will work in the end after we do the stainless. But you see we got big hooks here, and let's see, the other one came out easy. I'm not sure what the last guys did here, so this, they could have glued it in, you know. But we just need to scoot it and kind of roll it. There we go. And then she'll come out of there. There we go. There's that piece. And then, let me get a light up here. On this piece, it looks like it's folded over everywhere. You know, and you're like, man, what do I do now? Well, there's these slots here. And actually this line, I know it's so dark in there. Come on. Okay. Now we gotta focus. This right here and this right here are trim clips. And we've got a slot, one down there. I should put my headlight on. I wonder if they covered the other one up with a clip. I don't see it. But we're gonna come in here with our trim tool or screwdriver, whatever you got. And we should be able to get these clips to move. Let's dig under this insulation or this padding they put on here. Come on now. I just need you to move. Well, the other side was a lot more willing to move, but eventually got it here. There we go. So that's what's looking like on those. Going over the pinch weld there, and that takes care of the quarter windows. Back up and show a full. There we go, that's nice. Fixed. Does anyone know what a guy needs to do now? How does this go back together again? I don't know. We'll figure it out. So the floor was a surprise, I think I mentioned. As far as I can tell, I've really only looked on at AMD, Auto Metal Direct, so far, their website. But all they offer is an entire floor pan, tunnel and all, braces and all. Or they offer individual halves. You cut out, you leave the tunnel, you leave the sides, the rockers, and you cut out just the floor pans. Could go either way. Kind of leaning towards the entire floor, to be honest with you. So I'll do a little more research there and make a decision. We also have to figure out the little roll pan at the rear window, what we're going to do there. The bottom of the left quarter, rear quarter, and so on and so forth. But I think we are pretty well stripped down as far as we're going to go. I may even put it on the rotisserie yet. I may even show you a little bit at the very end of this. However, first, it is time to pick up and store away everything. And it's a mess, right? Do a little scraping, vacuuming, and then we can think about maybe putting it on the rotisserie. So, that is it. The Nova is now officially completely torn down, other than individual components, things that may need to be disassembled, cleaned up, and then put back together, you know. But that is it. Things are going to get really exciting from here on out. So, just keep on coming back. If you're not subscribed, I never tell you guys this. If you're not subscribed, be sure you are, so you can keep up with the progress and the progress on the 57 Chevy, the 40 Chevy pickup, my Corvair, and everything else we do around here. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. God bless you. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Time to refill an entire toolbox. And I mean an entire one.